Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti, hoping you guys are having a good day. And above all else, that you're looking after yourselves and one another. I want to welcome you all back to another segment of Live Album Spotlight. Now, the album in the spotlight today is, quite simply put, one hell of an album. It is fantastic. The band are the Tea Party, and the album in the spotlight is their release live from Australia. Now, for those of you who don't know who the Tea Party are, they are a hard rock trio from Windsor, Ontario, Canada, consisting of Jeff Martin on guitars, lead vocals, and various instruments, Stuart Chatwood on bass, keyboards, mellotron, various instruments, and Jeff Burrows on drums, percussion, and again, various instruments. The band released their debut album, Splendor Solace, in 1993 through EMI Music. They went on to release a string of albums throughout the 90s, pretty much an album every couple of years from 93 to 2001. And they would release albums into the 2000s. Their last studio release before their extended hiatus, or otherwise known as a breakup, was 2004's Seven Circles, again released through EMI. In 2005, they went on again extended hiatus. Jeff Martin had moved to Ireland first and then to Australia. He had kept himself busy with a solo career, releasing the album Exile in the Kingdom, would go on to be in various bands, Jeff Martin's 777, and also another band called the Armada. Both bands did release one album each. Stuart Chatwood would go on to record soundtracks for video games. Fantastic instrumentalists, all three of them, multi-instrumentalists, I should say. And Jeff Burrows would go on to form the band Crash Karma and release an album with them. Around 2010, 2011, the band decided to get together and chat and see if there was something there that they could continue as the Tea Party. Needless to say, they were all very nervous about doing that. Then out comes Live from Australia, a double album released on their website on September 15th, 2012, then released November 23rd in Australia and November 27th worldwide. Okay. They undertook a major tour of Australia for this reunion tour called the Reformation Tour, which, as you saw, I put up on the screen, was also released on DVD and Blu-ray. The venues for this recording were the Palais Theatre and the Hi-Fi Theatre in Melbourne, the Tivoli Theatre in Brisbane, the Hordern Pavilion in Sydney, and the Barton Theatre in Adelaide. Also, another venue, Metro City in Perth, right? The album was released through Linus and Eternal Music being the Tea Party's own label. Now, to say that this album is a heavy album is an understatement. This is as far away as you can get from the previous episode on Joni Mitchell. The album has a playing time of an hour and 53 minutes. I was going to say 153 minutes, an hour and 53 minutes and 42 seconds. And the video version of the Reformation Tour is 2 hours and 13 minutes. Okay, so it is quite long. There are 17 tracks on the CD version, 12 tracks on the vinyl version due to time restraints. And there are 3 additional tracks that were available for downloading purposes when it was originally released. Now I'm going to go through this listing with you. Now, basically, for anyone that is a fan of the Tea Party, this is pretty much a greatest hits set. Okay. Now, the Tea Party, I don't know if I mentioned this but prior, but in terms of music, in terms of genre, and in terms of style of music, think about, if you will, The Doors mixed with Led Zeppelin with a heavy, and I mean heavy use of Middle Eastern influencing and instrumentation. Okay. Now, the album starts off with the first single that the band ever released from their 1993 major label debut, Splendor Solace, The River, a 9 minute and 30-second opus of this track. Just amazing. Jeff Martin on guitar, he comes out, he hits some chords on the guitar and starts going into the opening passage of the river. Just amazing. The audience is going ballistic. Okay. I do believe that at the Hordem Theater, or the Hordem Pavilion, sorry, there was a crowd of 4,000 people in the audience, and they were going nuts. And then Jeff Burrows comes in on the drums with the floor toms and just heavy-handed on the drums. But you know what? He has a good touch. Okay, they all do. After The River comes the track The Bazaar, the second single released from The Edges of Twilight. Again, Middle Eastern influences coming in on the guitar and the instrumentation. And again, the audience is eating this up. You got to understand too that in Australia, Australia was the first market that really took to the Tea Party in terms of an international audience base. And they've never lost their fan base in Australia. If anything, it's gone from strength to strength over the years. All right. And also, when you watch the video, you will see Jeff Martin interacting with the audience. Very charismatic. Okay. He's able to draw the audience in very much, and they respond to him wholeheartedly. You know, they're all in, right? After, excuse me, after The Bazaar comes the track Lullaby. And you hear the intro of the distorted music box, go to sleep, that kind of, that intro. And it is distorted because you're going into a heavy influenced dream on Lullaby. And the audience is going ballistic for this. Okay. It is heavy handed. But again, with the Tea Party, there's always room for experimentation and extended sections and improv. On Lullaby, for example, you have Jeff Martin using the theremin on an extended section, and he uses it brilliantly. After Lullaby comes Psychopomp, okay, from the album Transmission from 1997, a beautiful version of this track, okay? Pretty much to me, this track is talking about be careful what you wish for because it could very well come true. Sorry. Now, there's a bit of a break in the show, and Jeff Martin introduces what he considers to be one of his favorite songs, if not his favorite song, Correspondences from The Edges of Twilight. Very easygoing, subdued, slowed down tempo on the intro. Just beautiful guitar chords that come in that introduce it. And in the mid sections, it amps up and the guitars take over. Just amazing, just amazing. A tour de force. All right. Now, coming up is one of the 5 tracks that is not available on the vinyl release of the album, and that is The Messenger, the cover from Daniel Lanois. Just a beautiful rendition of this track. Starts off with Jeff Martin on the guitar, and then the band slowly come in, right? And the audience, again, is eating this up. They're just basically in the palm of Jeff's hands at this point in time. They're basically putting in his hands because they're waiting with bated breath to hear what he's going to do next, right? With the song. After The Messenger is Fire in the Head, a lead-off track and single from the Edges of Twilight. Beautiful, beautiful version of this track. Up next is the instrumental, The Badger, from, again, The Edges of Twilight. The Badger is one of the 5 tracks that is not available on the vinyl release, again, due to time constraints, but it is on the CD version and, of course, the video version of this concert. Just amazing. After the Badger, beautiful acoustic guitar instrumental, by the way, amazing. After the Badger is the final song on CD1 called Shadows on the Mountainside, which again is not available on the vinyl edition. It's available on the CD and the video edition of this show. Now, this is where the band have a little bit of fun. CD2 starts off with Sun Going Down, okay, from Splendor Solace. All right. You have Jeff Martin sitting on a stool, talking to the audience, introducing the track. Again, he's pulling the audience in, okay? And it's pretty much a blues number, okay, with acoustic guitar. You have Jeff Martin and Stuart Chatwood both on acoustic guitar, and you have Jeff Burrows coming in on the drums. Just amazing. And there's a breakdown section where Jeff Martin starts talking to God, okay? Saying, please let me in, I don't want to go to hell, but can you let me into heaven? Because, I pretty much want to repent for my sins. And again, he's talking to the audience. It's a breakdown section. The audience is responding. They're clapping away. They're really egging him on. And it's a fantastic blues number. Okay. Heavy as all get out in sections, but you know what? It's still an acoustic number, acoustic oriented or influenced number. And near the end, where there's a vamp up on the end of the track, you basically seeing Jeff Martin and Stuart Chatwood rock out on acoustic guitars. If that's even possible, I didn't even know that, but they make it possible. Okay. After Sun Going Down, you have Halcyon Days from Triptych from 1999. Amazing, heavy rendition, 7 minutes and 20 seconds of rock like galore. I mean, it is heavy as all get out. The drums are thundering. The guitar is thick. Has a what I like about, I should say too, what I like about Jeff Martin's guitar playing is he can be heavy-handed, but like people like Steve Vai and Brian May and Frank Zappa, has a really exquisite touch when he does his guitar work. Just amazing. He doesn't overplay a note for the sake of overplaying. Of course, that's my opinion. He does exactly what is needed at the time, and it is just beautiful. Okay. Save Me is next. A second single release from Splendor Solace. A beautiful extended edition version, sorry, of this track. 11 minutes and 32 seconds, right? And the crowd are eating this up. Save Me was a big hit for them in Australia. Actually, I think Splendor Solace did go platinum for them, for a first album release in Australia. Up next is another track that is not available on the vinyl release. Guys, if I were you, I'd try and get the CD release of this, because then you get the full show. The full show. And I've said this before. I hate it when tracks are edited or removed from a set list. And it's worth noting, none of these songs are edited down or done in medleys. They're all done in their full length, full form, or they're extended. Coming up next, I should continue, is Heaven Coming Down. Again, this is not available on the vinyl release. It's available on the CD and the video release. And Heaven Coming Down is the Tea Party's first #1 track in Canada as a hit single. Okay, which to me astounds me. Astounds me that this is the one track that hit #1 on the Canadian charts for the band, because they are that good. And the audience with this version is really into it. And there's a lot of energy going back and forth between the band members and the audience, and they basically feed off one another, right? Track 5 on CD2 is Release. Okay. Now, this song was the final single released from the Transmission album from 1997. The song was written in response to a news article, sorry, that Jeff Martin saw on CNN about the abuse of women in other countries. And this track was released as a single in conjunction with the White Ribbon Campaign. The White Ribbon Campaign is a campaign that was started in Toronto, and it stands for Men Against Violence Against Women. Okay, so they raised a lot of money for this campaign with this track release. It's a beautiful, beautiful, heartfelt ballad, and in this version, the audience is really into it. And at the end of the track, Jeff Burrows stops playing, and Jeff Martin leads the audience in singing the chorus of the track, and they're all into it. Just amazing. Okay, it's really heartfelt. Okay, it's really heartfelt. Up next is the lead-off single and track from Transmission called Temptation. Fantastic track. This is the album. Transmission was the album where, excuse me, where the Tea Party started to use uh, tape loops and drum loops and programming, not heavily so, but just enough that it just gave the music on the album a different breath, a deeper breath, and a different scope in terms of the presentation. And the audience are going crazy. The studio version is 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and the live version clocks in at 5 minutes and 33 seconds. There's a lot of room for improv sections, guitar solos. And what I like about this guitar solo is Jeff Martin incorporates the guitar solo from The River into this track and goes into the usual guitar solo that he does for this track. Just amazing. The audience at this point are just eating it up, right? They leave, they come back for one encore called Winter Solstice, which is again not available on the album, the vinyl version, and it's not listed on the CD sleeve. It's done as an additional bonus track, right? A beautiful acoustic piece done on acoustic guitar, and also in the choruses of the track, it's basically the chorus for Save Me, okay? But it is amazing. The audience at this point are going nuts, okay? And then they segue into Sister Awake, which pretty much brings the house down. Now, this version of Sister Awake is like 8 minutes and 22 seconds. The original is 5 minutes. Now, with Sister Awake on the studio version, they needed 3 recording machines synced together in order to be able to house and support all the instrumentation that's on that track. I think there were like 52 instruments on that track alone, all done by the band. So they needed, again, 3 recording machines all synced together in order to support all the instrumentation for this track. And I can just imagine that mixing this SOB was a feat in itself. Okay. But when they perform it live, it's the 3 of them on stage and they go for it. And the audience is just going nuts for this. Okay. It is heavy, it is melodic, it is in your face. It's a Tea Party. Right. Now that's the end of the concert for the physical release. There were 3 additional tracks that were made available to download at the time of the release of the album, and those tracks are Overload from Seven Circles. That is a sound check recording from the Hordem Pavilion. Uh, a track, another track from Seven Circles Writings on the Wall from the Hi-Fi in Melbourne. And the final track that was available for download was The River, recorded at the Horton Pavilion. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you can still get this album on Amazon. You can listen to the album on YouTube, and you can watch the video on YouTube. Okay. Please check this album out. It is a fantastic live album. It is a perfect snapshot of where the band were in 2012. Okay, this album, for those of you out there who know of the Tea Party and like what you hear and know of their songs, this album is a perfect greatest hits live album plus, because when you hear the Tea Party live, or when you see them live also, you always get something extra, a different dimension, an extended dimension, let's say, because they always go into extended improv sections and you know just different arrangements of the tracks just to make it a full experience for you. And believe me, this album is worth it. So check it out. If you want to get it on Amazon, I think it's going for something like $25.95 on Amazon. A double disc, again, released through Linus and Eternal Music. All right. And if you know of this album, please put your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the album. Let me know what you think of the Tea Party. And I just watched an interview today that was done 3 months ago for an Australian YouTube channel. And about 3 months back, Jeff Martin and Jeff Burrows had said that they are working on a brand new album. So as a fan of the Tea Party, I'm bloody excited to get a new album from the Tea Party. It's been 3 years since Blood Moon Rising. I think it's time we need new music from the Tea Party. But again, check out Live from Australia. And again, let me know what you think of the album overall. All right? Don't take my word for it. Listen to it on YouTube. Watch the video. Okay? Sit down with a coffee or a drink or food and just watch this video. It is amazing. Okay? It is amazing. Again, let me know what you think of the Tea Party and Life from Australia. That's it for now. I'm going to be back with more videos very soon with Bill Schuster, Jim Bricker, and Ken Cheshire. And we're working on some ideas, and we're going to bring them to you as soon as we can. All right? So please look after yourselves and one another, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye for now.